Well, hello, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Jobu, and as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, and cussing me out. And of course, I have Cowboys Nation over here. Another one of these guys that want to beat me down. But hey, when you're in the public eye, you're a target. How are you
That's
doing,
normal, Mark.
Cowboys Nation, tonight?
Yo, first and foremost, y'all leave my man Mark alone. We gonna debate, but it's healthy debate, okay? And let
Okay.
me tell you something. This guy is extremely plugged. Now we about to rumble real quick, but then
Okay.
we gonna go on this draft trip and we're gonna have a great time.
Oh man, that draft trick, man! I got to tell you, it's going to be crazy. You've already seen the whole setup, the way they're going to basically take the stadium and make it a giant stage. They'll have jumbotrons outside. They'll have all of NFL experience. They'll be setting up there. We'll be there with my man Cowboys Nation. Shango might be making an appearance. If nothing else, we'll at least be skyping in Vosh, Law Nation, and we're going to have some wings and we're going to have some barbecue. We're going to have a ball. But
We gonna do
anyway,
it,
I know you've got to get to class and everything else.
man.
What is your thoughts because of the whole idea of Earl Thomas?
Okay, Mark. First and foremost, it's a big HELL no. No, it's not a hell no. Listen, I love, and I'm not a cursor, so sorry
Wow.
guys. You guys didn't hear that. I will
Okay.
never curse Mark. Listen, I got so much respect for this dude, but in my opinion, okay, Earl Thomas, if it was on the complete cheap, yes.
Okay.
The problem is it's not going to be on the complete cheap. We know that, Cowboys fans, you know that.
Okay. Now,
Mark,
when you
Mark,
say when you
go
say
ahead, Mark.
cheap, what are we talking about? Cheap? Are we talking about
If we're
the
talking a
trade, or are
fourth
we talking about his
rounder,
contract?
and you were spot on with the source and everything. If we're talking maybe a 2 year deal, nothing more than like 10, but he won't do that. We won't do that. It and because of his Mark, because of his injury history, because of what Seattle would want,
Okay.
because of it just it's not even realistic because and I also what happened to let's develop Xavier Woods?
Okay.
What happened to draft? What happened, Mark? What happened to Dallas Cowboys? They're picking 19. Oh, Dallas trades up to Tampa Bay. And they say, uh-oh, he reaching for it. Mark, they trade and they go get Derwin. You got Derwin for 5 years on the cheap versus a older, beat up Earl Thomas. And you now, and Mark, how you going to make it work? Are you cutting Des Bryant with no number one? Bryce Butler's off the team. Are you cutting Terrence Williams, who I've said we've been needed to cut? Go, Mark. Go,
Well,
Mark.
okay, all right. Let's back this thing up. So first of all, people have the idea that I'm saying go get him for a number one, and of course they're also saying a number three. So let's at least straighten the story out first. The
Okay.
fact that Seattle reached out and said, "Hey, we want a number one, Cowboys. You interested?" They wouldn't then turn around the next day and say, "Okay, we want a three on top of it." So that's kind of lost in the mix. And unfortunately, if you've ever, I forget what it's called, but basically you get a whole bunch of people in a group in a circle and you
Yes.
whisper something in one person's ear and have it go around. And it started out the sky is blue, but by the time it goes all the way around, it says you're just an MF blank the blank blank the blank. You know what I mean? The story evolves and changes. Okay,
Agree. I
I
completely
have
agree.
all along I have said that I think that the deal for him would end up being a third round draft pick.
Okay. And you know what, Mark?
Okay,
A third
that's
with
what I've said all along. That I think that that's what it would have been, and I said that weeks ago. And I wouldn't go any higher than a third round draft pick for him.
okay. If
Okay.
if you telling me a third, I gotta see the numbers, and I
Uh-huh.
just how are we gonna make it work contractually, Mark?
Oh,
We don't have any
we can.
money,
If you want things to work, you can make things work. Because
Mark. We sign our
hold
own.
on, hold on. We got 8.5 at the moment right now with only a swipe of a pen with Travis Frederick. If we want
Okay.
cash, there's guys that we're going to end up cutting. Guys like Orlando Scandrick, who we're holding on to him for whatever reason. He's about 3.75 right there.
Mark, you're holding on to him for the same reason that Seattle's holding on to Earl Thomas.
Yeah, but see,
These
here's the
players,
difference. There's some trade value with Earl Thomas. There's no
there's
trade.
none with
There's none
Scandrick.
with Skandrick.
There's none
Nobody,
with Scandrick.
everybody
Okay.
who's interested in Skandrick is basically going to wait him out. It may be one of those ones that will say, "Well, throw Skandrick in the deal just to kind of give you something, just to try and make it go better." That's the only reason why I think that he is still even on the team, and that's one of the things I was told that the Cowboys were trying to do. But here's the thing: like I said, I'm not saying buy the farm that you're going to give up a number one pick. That would be crazy, especially when Marcus Peters only only got a second and a fifth, okay? And, we're talking
Exactly.
about,
Mhm.
Bennett
Freedom
going
player.
for a fifth round. Nobody would go for a first. Now, if the Cowboys were to bite on it, hey, great, it's wonderful. But the reality is Seattle needs to move him and get what they can because they need to rebuild the defense.
I
Okay?
completely agree.
Okay, so, and the Cowboys, if they can get one of the pieces taken care of before the draft, it makes it that much easier and it opens you up to best players available. And I'm not saying that Earl Thomas is a long term solution. However, when you look at all of the cornerbacks that we have on the team, we've got tons of guys, and I'm happy about that because now these guys have to compete for playing time. You're going
Yes,
to get the
and that's
best guys out
competition,
there,
and that makes
but
team that makes the team better.
you're changing philosophies on the defense. Okay,
Agreed.
with Chris Richard, we're going to end up going from being a let's sit back and bend don't break to being an aggressive. And the best thing you can do is have somebody who already knows the system as the field general back there to go ahead and mentor your Xavier Woods and get them up to speed. So 2 years from down the road now, when you're ready to cut bait with him, you've already got a guy that now knows the system. So from a standpoint of leadership, from a standpoint of understanding the system, you've got a guy who knows it inside and out and wants to be here.
Okay, and you know what, Mark? I hear that. All right, let me propose this to you.
Okay.
Would you do Cole Beasley in the third right now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Would you do Cole Beasley in the third to Seattle?
Yeah.
Maybe Dallas is thinking of
Or
something
no,
like
wait, hold on. Let me back this up. I'd say Cole Beasley in a fourth. I wouldn't say a third and
that.
Cole
Okay.
Beasley. I'm sorry. Yeah,
I don't
that
think
that
Seattle would do it for a fourth. I think it would have to be a third. That's
because
just me.
Because
If,
here,
if
here's the
if
deal with Cole
Seattle,
Beasley too. Because now you're talking about money. Cole Beasley, you would if you cut him, you basically have $1 million in dead money, but you'd save I think 3.5 or 2.5. I'm sorry, 2.7 or 3.7. I can't remember the exact number, but that's one of those places that if they want money, you can get it. And there's a lot of
that's what
guys
I'm
that
saying.
there's a lot of guys that you can look at and say, okay, are we better off having Ryan Switzer take Cole Beasley's pace and grab $3 million? Or keeping them both? Are you better off keeping, say, a Tyrone Crawford if you make him a June 1st cut and save $8 million? Or saying we're going to put Taco Charlton in there who's only 2.5. So there's things that you're going to look at and guys that are going to move later on where you want to sign a Zach Martin that you can get the money. And I'm still not sold that Des Bryant will still be here opening day because if something else comes available, the fact that they went for Sammy Watkins tells me that if there's a better option, Des, you're gone.
I listen. Okay, and so let's address interest and talks and may they. It's a report out there that they did talk to Sammy Watkins, but I'm
But the
sure
price was too
when
high.
his agent, I'm sure when they put the price tag on the table, the talk,
Bye.
I'm sure that the phone went from, oh hey Sammy, how you 30? Oh no, click. You see
Right,
what I'm
and
saying?
that's where they might be right now with Earl Thomas too. Where,
And so
yeah,
my point is talks, interest. I get it. I'm interested in a lot. I'm sure you are. The fact is, you talking about Sammy Watkins, and everybody's been bringing that to me. Sammy Watkins had 34 catches. He
right.
just
I wouldn't have done that one.
exactly.
For
I
him to get
agree. I
16 million,
agree, Mark.
man, you guys are screwed. Now,
You can kiss my, you know what? So
thank you. We
that
agree at
was
least
not
on that
smart.
one. But yeah, then that's where right now we are. We're getting crazy contracts. The fact that Sam Bradford got $20 million. I mean, can you?
The
It,
Skins, listen, we in the DMV. The
oh yeah,
Skins actually think they have a player in Raw and Paul Richardson.
yeah,
I scouted him 2 years ago from Colorado. He's a very
yeah.
average.
Well,
Listen.
listen, we're not
You
even going to
talking
talk
about
about the
our
skins.
corners, Mark? How you
Yeah,
just brought up our corners?
yeah,
I'm thankful that they gave him to Alex Smith for 20 million.
yeah,
Now you're going to be forced to play him?
yeah.
No way, Jose.
True.
So I think Dez's camp, I think they're looking at it and saying, I think Dez may say, I ain't taking a cut. So I don't
Well,
know. I think this is what you do. If you really want to get rid of Dez Bryant, you draft a receiver in a second this year.
yeah.
Huh, Mark?
Well, actually, no. Actually, I think that that's what they're going to do. They're going to probably draft a guy and look for a guy to be able to replace him. But at this
Okay.
moment, you got to hold on to him for this year, unless somehow some great receiver comes available in the second wave of free agency that you can get a reasonable price. That is possible, and then you use a June 1st cut, in which case you save $12.5 million. But they probably, because next year will be easier to cut him where it doesn't hurt as much, groom a guy to replace him.
Okay. And that's fine with me. And I've always said, and I've been very consistent, Cowboys fans, we're talking about the wrong receiver. Terrence Williams didn't score last year. So
listen, I ain't happy with any of them, right? I'm
listen,
not
all right,
like,
so
hey, let me go buy one of their jerseys. No, I'm not doing any of that.
Mark,
the only
I can't
receivers
wait
jersey we have here are Jason Witten and
Right.
Des Bryant, okay? And Jason Witten we got because he's going to be a Hall of Famer, okay?
Mark, that's the facts, buddy. Listen. So I'm not attacking your points. You know I'm a draft guy. It's draft versus free agency. I know your mindset is let's get some guys in. I just don't know if we have the money, Mark. I really don't. We pay our own.
Again, the Eagles were $10 million over the cap before free agency started.
Last year or this year?
This year. They were in the worst position in the NFL.
If you keep pushing money back, you're going to get
I'm not saying
later.
I'm not saying that that's the best thing, but here's the thing. I look at it like this. This team is pretty close. Okay? We could have had if we actually had not lost Zeke Elliott, who knows what could happen. The NFC was wide open.
I agree.
If we had Tyron Smith the whole season, we probably would have been definitely in the playoffs, or even Sean Lee.
Okay, you're in.
Okay, now and that's even with a predictable offense and Jason Garrett as a coach. Okay, so you were 9-7, so you're close. Our biggest thing is we don't control the middle, and we keep trying to protect the defense by keeping them off the field. If we can go ahead and say, okay, let's focus a little more on the defense. So just for the fact that our corners and stuff will be a year older and hopefully healthy because Awuzie missed like half the season with his hamstring and stuff, they're going to be better. The fact that we're going to go ahead and get Byron Jones and then the mix of corners. We've got plenty of corners to cover everybody. But we need a field general in the back end there who can play. And I believe me, I love Xavier Woods because he's a guy who always is around the ball, but I think he needs some more experience. And that's where an Earl Thomas will help you. And if you can get that guy, then we can focus in on getting a linebacker and a big guy in the middle. Or the best player available in the draft, and that's my argument for trying to get
a swing tackle guard.
Oh, yeah. Well, somebody's going to fall to us. Be it, I think, Aaron Hernandez between Ridley or Vita Vea. I mean, there's going to be a run on quarterbacks. The pass rushers are going to go. You never know what guy might be there, and you want to be able to take whichever one of those guys are the best guy that's there.
William Hernandez. Listen, I mean, if you really want to go receiver early, I wouldn't even be mad at that if you come back at the guard. So I see what you're saying about covering yourself. Yeah. Me personally, Foots the Cowboy fan, I don't see it happening. No. Mark, it may, Mark. If I'm wrong, I'm coming on this show and I'm eating crow. You got me.
Well, nobody really knows what's going to be the right move. Okay, I mean, last year people thought Calais Campbell was an old guy over the hill, and he comes out and has 14.5 sacks, and is runner up for Defensive Player of the Year. It's football. There's so many variables, and in the end, we don't work for the Cowboys. We're not signing the checks, and we're just talking football of things that we'd like to see and what we think might work.
Yeah, we're talking. We're seeing what would make sense and speaking into existence and think how they would think, but maybe they throw a curveball. Maybe Jerry says, I'm tired of sitting out of this. I want in. So
yeah,
you don't know. And it could, that's a good point, Mark. It does cover a need because safety's on their board. Yeah. So, maybe we'll see. The draft is going to be so interesting this year, Mark. It couldn't have came
it's going to be interesting because we're going to be
came in a better year. I swear.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. But my man Foots, I know everybody knows Cowboys Nation, but if you haven't gotten up and subscribed to him, man, you got to go ahead and take care of my man here. Tell everybody about your channel and where to find you.
Hey, man, it's Foots, it's me, just talking Cowboys, inspired by guys like Mark. I've got a bunch of buddies. Shout out my man Joe Rod, Cowboys Blog, everybody. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Mark is one of the legends, and he's doing it, and he's paving the way. He does a lot. He puts in a lot of work. You guys got to understand that, the work that Mark puts in. Vach, Shango. So listen, support us. We're going on this trip. We're going to be talking football all day. So support us. My channel is Cowboys Nation TV. I also am a musician. You can follow us at Foots Times Coles. So check the music out, and just thanks for supporting me. Thanks for having me on, Mark.
And tonight we'll be here at 9 o'clock. My man John will be here with me telling me how much of an idiot I am. And, of course, we'll be taking some of your calls, so we'll be having a great time. So I'll see you guys at 9 o'clock. Hello, friends. CowboyJobu here with an unsolicited opinion on the Jobu wings. You were saying about the wings?
The wings are the best I've ever had. Hands down. Awesome.
Okay, well, we've been passing out our recipe. If you actually look on our YouTube channel, we have all the recipes for all this stuff on here.
With the women, with the ladies.
You know that. Okay, slide in a little bit here. Okay, all right, so on 3, James, get in there, man. Okay, we're gonna do How About Them Cowboys, okay? All right, everybody, on 3, How About Them Cowboys? 1, 2, 3.